So we're super lucky to have Pam here tonight. She's a job resource consultant, and so she really, I think, has the expertise and the knowledge and the insights to help you take it that next step further and provide you with everything that you need when you're ready to go out and look for your work. So we're super happy to have Pam here tonight. I want to thank our sponsors. Without our sponsors, this program would not be happening. So a big thanks to IBM, who very kindly provide the space for us, to BCIT School of Business, SFU BD School of Business, and to Douglas College. So I'm going to leave it over to Pam. Thanks to you.
So, hi guys, I'm Pamela Trinh. I'm a job resource consultant at Right Management. So I'm going to actually quickly, just if that's okay, get you guys to just introduce yourself, maybe what profession you are studying or wanting to get into, so I can kind of gauge, what the room is wanting, right? So can I start with you? Is that okay?
Sure. My name is Carmen. I'm a fourth year student at SFU. I'm studying marketing.
Okay.
I'm Elizabeth, and I'm in my final term at BCIT studying accounting.
My name is Athena. I just finished my degree in psychology, but interested in human resources or leadership development.
My name is Adrian. I'm a fourth year econ business major. I'm interested in either consulting or project management.
I'm Gloria, and I finished my Bachelor of Business Administration, and right now I'm in the legal studies program at Capital.
Hi, my name is Ina. I finished accounting management diploma at Dallas College.
Now, I graduated from SFU at BC. Right now, I'm a assistant at South Africa.
I'm Darren Geller. I'm a recent graduate from SFU, political science and economics major, looking at policy analysis and project management.
My name is Hassan. I'm finishing my accounting diploma at BCIT.
My name is Sam. I'm the International Business Operations Management major. I'm interested in supply chain and distribution companies for now, and then I'm eventually related to education.
My name is Frankie. I just completed an MBA from New York Institute of Technology, and I actually just got hired by the Board of Trade.
Oh, congratulations.
My name is Matt. I'm in my last semester finishing my BA in finance, and I'm looking into investment banking.
My name is Shrina. Third year economics student in SFU school.
And I'm going to pick on the two that just came in.
Rolando Fuentes Luis, recent graduate from San Francisco University in Marketing, Management Information Systems and Innovation. Recently hired as passive management consultant with consulting analyst for the technology selection specialist.
And I'm John. I graduated from SFU, studying Management Information Systems and HR, and I'm looking to get into business analysis.
Well, thanks to all you guys for making it down here to IBM and listening to me talk. And just letting you guys know, my workshops are usually very interactive. So as I'm kind of going through points, I'm letting you guys show me what you guys want me to talk about. Okay, so if you guys have questions, want me to talk about something more, put up your hand. You don't have to put up your hand. Shoot me a question. I'm more than happy. Share my story, share examples, just share any insight that I can give you guys to help you find a job. So, who am I? And you notice it's part 1. So as it says, I'm Pamela Trinh, a job resource consultant for Right Management. So I'm based out of the Vancouver office. And as a job resource consultant, I provide research support, offering insight on business trends and labor market information, as well as in-house and online coaching on social media tools like LinkedIn, LinkedIn networking strategy, and Right free recruiting database. So I can help HR people look for other people to source candidates. So prior to joining Right Management, I worked as a job developer for Work BC as well as Success, a nonprofit here in the Lower Mainland. In these roles, I gained a lot of experience in connecting with employers for job seekers and help clients understand the hidden job market. I facilitate sessions on job search issues, and I earned a BA in UBC, and particularly in poli-sci. and I'm based out of Vancouver and continue to help giving back and going to talk to students. So this sounds all really nice and fluffy, and it's a great bio, I would say. But I'm going to show you guys part 2. Who am I? Part 2 is this crazy. It actually is crazier, so this is actually a neat version of a little bit of my life story. So I always kind of talk about how I got to the role. I certainly didn't go to UBC thinking I was going to be a job resource consultant. I don't even know what, if you asked me that 6-7 years ago, I don't even know what that is. Right management, our legacy, is outplacement. Has anyone ever watched the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney? Really good movie. But what he does, so sad. Yes, and then I don't do that exactly. But what he does is he goes and fires people, and that's not what I do. But what he also does for them is provides them with a package. So when companies downsize, they can hire right management or other companies that help them with that transition. Okay, so we can go in, help them deliver their message to their former employee properly, and then provide them with our services. So our services is that we help them find a new job. We're not accountable for placing them anywhere, but we give them the tools to learn how to job search. We give them the tools on how to network. We give them any kind of tools to brand themselves as a professional. So that's what right management does. And this is an industry I didn't know existed at all. And it falls into HR as well. But to give you a little bit about my background, I was a sales associate. I was, of course, a UBC student. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought I wanted to be a policy analyst. I thought I wanted to be a campaign manager. I then thought I wanted to be in marketing / PR. Then I thought I wanted to just dedicate myself to nonprofit. So I did a whole bunch of different things. I did work for a marketing department within a real estate company as well at one point in my life. I volunteered for different organizations like Women Against Violence Against Women, ISSBC. Again, like I said, I worked as a sales associate for Bell Mobility for 3 years. I volunteered at Young Women in Business, the UBC chapter, as well as the organization itself, the Poli-Sci Student Association, so I could get connections to possibly lawyers. I did a lot of different things, okay? And all this led to what I am doing now. So what I really want to show you guys is that you might not see, like you might have your mind set to one thing, but your life can take you to a whole bunch of different places, and you kind of end up in a job that you never knew even existed, but you can also really enjoy it and love it. And I really enjoy and love what I do now. So this is a little bit of a background on myself. So what am I doing here? Obviously, I'm going to share with you as much insight as I possibly can on job searching and building those building blocks to find your ultimate career, I guess. Have you guys seen this picture before?
I've seen the one on the left.
I've experienced the one on the left. So I think that when we go to school, especially when you're entering post-secondary, I know my parents were always like, you go to post-secondary, you're gonna get this job, you're gonna be successful, you're gonna even have better and greater things than I did, right? And then they set this kind of path for us. And this is what we kind of think. It's like, you go to school and it's a straight line, right? But like I demonstrated with the slide prior to that, it's not always going to be like that. Success in reality can look like this. So a famous example, Steve Jobs, he got fired first and then got rehired for Apple and then became a success, right? So I just want to have this in mind for you guys. Keep it in mind. When you're applying for work, it might not always go smoothly, but again, hopefully I can share some insight that will help you guys make it as smooth as possible. So while I say that there's no straight path, there are some key things that you guys should keep in mind. So your resume. So who here has a resume? I would hope most of you do. So having a resume is very important. I'm just going to touch on a few tips, and again, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll move on. So with your resume, know it inside and out. Okay, the best advice I can give you guys about a resume is know it inside and out. Because when you go for an interview, if they pick at every single point, you need to be able to talk about it confidently. And you should be able to talk about it confidently because you did those things. Ideally, you did not lie, right? So make sure you know it inside and out. Ideally, you also customize it here and there depending on the job itself, right? So if they're using certain terms, certain lingo, use those terms and lingos because either software is going to pick it up or, you know, that's the hiring manager, they want to hear those words. So keep that in mind about your resume. Do you guys have any questions about resumes at all? Okay, another tip would be if you're going to use a template from Microsoft Word, change the font, change the margins, because the worst thing that you can do is send a resume that looks pretty much the same as the other applicant, except the name's just different, right? So try to make it your own style. Show a little bit of personality without going over the top. So again, change the font, change the margins, make it your own a little bit. And I've had that feedback from recruiters as well that I've talked to and networked with, is that they know who has gone to Star School of Business. All their resumes look exactly the same because no one's made it different. So if you are at SFU or any kind of business school, if they're teaching you resumes, it's great. You know, I'm sure they have great tips, but what the look of it, try to make it your own. References. Who here has references ready? Okay. So ideally have 3 at hand, and something to keep in mind is that you always want to keep your references up to date with your job search, right? Because you might ask them once and they say yes, and then they don't get a call maybe 6 months, 8 months later. And at that point they're like, who? Who is that? Pam who? So it's good to keep them in touch, keep them updated, and the best thing you can do is if you haven't talked to them for a while, is when you ask them in an email again, send them an updated resume. Because there's a stat that 2 out of your 3 references might give you a mixed review. And it's not because they don't like you, it's because they forgot who you were, or they forgot who they're kind of talking about. So give them a cheat sheet. Right? When you're asking them to be a reference, send them an updated resume so that they can have it right there. You know? Or remind them, especially if you're asking a professor, you'd be like, hi professor, whatever, I was in your class, these are some projects I did, it was great to be in your class, I really learned a lot. Just kind of give them a reminder, a refresher of why you're asking them. Okay? Research. Who does research when it comes to companies? Okay, that's good. So what kind of research do you guys do?
I like to talk to employees and LinkedIn personality.
Okay. Good source for sure.
The company's profile.
What kind of like the LinkedIn profile?
LinkedIn profile and the actual website.
Okay.
That's like the first step.
Okay. Anything else?
Media coverage.
That's a good one. And so what kind of content are you looking at? Is it their mission statement? Or what are you researching? What are you looking for? Media coverage, like I guess recent events that they've been involved in and whatnot, but what other content are you looking at? History? History? Okay.
Culture.
Culture, yeah. Anything else? Sorry? Okay.
Values.
Okay. So, yeah.
The success and failures.
Okay. So all of these are great, but it took a while to get culture in there. So culture is actually really important. These days, most companies are hiring based off culture fit, company fit, right? Because it is competitive out there. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's very competitive. So, you know, how do we eliminate some of the applicants? So let's see if their personality will fit. You wouldn't want to be in a company where you don't like any of your coworkers. They wouldn't want to be working with you anyways, right? So they try to find fit. Who uses Facebook to find out company culture or research companies? Facebook is actually a great way to find about company culture. A lot of them even have Facebook company career pages as well. So if you do go on your search bar and say hypothetically, and I don't know if IBM has one, but it'd be IBM careers, and if they have a Facebook page based on just careers, it's great insight. They'll post jobs, they'll post what their employees are up to. They'll also usually highlight any kind of charity work that they do. And this is all great content because not a lot of people are going to go beyond the mission statement. Not a lot of people are going to go beyond what are some new products that they've released recently. If you can show them that you've done a lot of research, that you know this is the right company for you to belong in, it really highlights something for them. It provides you with answers to why do you want to work for us. You're a cool company. That's great. How are we cool? Right? What makes us different from all the other companies? Why do you want to just work for us? What makes us different? So figuring out their company culture is the answer, right? Why would you be the ideal candidate? How would you guys answer this? How would company research help you answer this?
Tell us what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And who they've already hired.
Yeah. Exactly. You can kind of see what the company dynamic is, what their employees are up to. Do they have hackathons if you're in IT? Do they have beer every Friday? I know some companies do that. Would you get along with those coworkers? You can really try to emphasize that. Something that I usually bring up is the charity work they do. If they support a charity, is that a charity that you also support? So not only do you have all the skills that they're looking for, you also embody the values that they're looking for.
I was just going to say, I used to work at a place called Raincoast Books, and we distributed something called 52 Deck Series. So it's 52 things to do the weekend, 52 things to do with your kids. And we were looking to hire someone to work in marketing. We got all these resumes, and someone actually sent the resume in 52 reasons why they wanted to work for Raincoast Books. And he had done it, he had designed the cards, and he'd written down all the 52 reasons why. It was like, we gotta talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Because he understood our product, he understood, and he ended up, for a lot of reasons, getting the job. But that's what you're saying, you're looking at the product and the culture and all that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's beyond the product or service they do. It's what makes them them, right? You need to figure out what makes them them. And you also ask yourself, why do I even want to work for you guys? Right? What is it about this company or that company that you want to put? Is it go beyond the need? Go beyond building your resume. What is it? What will make you happy about this company? So by doing company research, especially on company culture, having informational interviews is another great way to do company research as well. So you can get really, really bold insight. So I'm just going to go a little bit more into this. These days, of course, resources is at your fingertips. Companies are choosing to be very transparent, or their former employees are going to be being transparent for them. When you go for an informational interview, it'd be interesting to interview someone who used to work for them and who is currently working for them. So you kind of get a gauge as to what it would be to work for them, honestly. So again, LinkedIn, Facebook. Who has ever gone on Glassdoor.com? So okay, a couple of you have.
Has it been helpful for you guys? Like, when you looked at it?
Yeah, especially the interview process.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, Glassdoor is great. For those of you who don't know what Glassdoor is, it's a website where people can post anonymously about what it's like to work for a particular company, what the interview process is like, what the salary ranges are, so you can kind of gauge. Sometimes they'll post pictures, and they'll show you if they got an offer, if they did, why didn't they take an offer. Some of them are very candid. Of course, my disclaimer to Glassdoor is be mindful. Someone who is unhappy is more likely to post something than someone who is happy. So, when you're reading it, be mindful about the post, but it does provide you with some really good insight into the company structure and what you're getting yourself into, especially when it comes to salary. If they're asking about salary ranges, that's another great website to look for that. And of course, the lovely Google. Google's always great. You could just type in the company name. one that I didn't mention, and it has more to do with salary ranges, is workingincanada.ca or .org, either or, .ca or .org. It also gives you salary ranges on the role. So if you say a marketing manager, you type that in, it will give you a gauge as to how much you should get paid based off of province and based nationwide as well. So that's another great website for you guys to use to do some company research. So like I said, it shows that you're dedicated to the company. So, you know, you're about to graduate, companies know you're probably applying to more than one company. Let's be real. But how are you going to show them that you're really into them is by showcasing what you know about them, that what most people don't know about them, right? And again, anyone can go on their website and read their mission statement. Anyone can, you know, Google and just look at the media coverage, especially if they are a hot company right now. But who's going to really investigate their company culture? So really keep that in mind. Do you guys have any questions or anything like that? Good. Okay. So the next few things, apply to jobs. Keep a job, log. Job search log. Who keeps a job search log? Anyone? Yeah, you can do an Excel sheet. It's up to you guys. So why I kind of suggest a job search log is that it lets you keep track of what companies you applied to, what roles you applied to, and when to follow up, right? And it keeps you a little bit motivated too, because applying to work is not fun. It's a job in itself. So, you know, when you record it, it keeps you a little bit more motivated. It's like, okay, today I'm going to do 2 jobs. Today I'm going to do 1 job. Today I'm going to do 3 jobs, right? So keeping a log just keeps you motivated. And again, it reminds you which companies you should follow up with. So that's something to add. And yep, you can create an Excel. If you're classic and you like to write things down in an agenda, that's my personal favorite of mine. I would do that. So find what works for you and just keep a log. I do encourage that. Follow companies you really want to work for. Who follows companies they actually really want to work for? Yay. Okay, awesome. Where do you guys follow them? Okay, yeah. Anywhere else? No? Facebook? Okay. Twitter? Yeah. So these are all great. They are the places to follow companies on. With LinkedIn, it's awesome because it comes into your news feed and it shows you, when they have a new posting on the job, when they are covered in the media, all those kind of things that they kind of publish on their own. They notify you kind of in a sense. Twitter is great as well because have you ever tried to network with anyone on Twitter?
No, I've noticed the ones I've been following tend to be sanitized accounts.
Okay.
Where they're very carefully curated, but there's not really a lot of back and forth.
Okay. And that's a hit and miss too, right? So, if they don't kind of get you back, not the end of the world. You only wasted like a second of your life there. But some of them will.
So what would be, how would you actually do that? How would you approach that?
So I have a famous example for myself when it comes to networking. I'm actually named after Pamela Martin, the news anchor. Yeah, my mom was like big fan. Thought she would be a good role model for me. So she named me after Pamela Martin. And then one day I tweeted out, fun fact, I'm named after Pamela Martin. Obviously I at Pamela Martin. She tweets back, that made my day, awesome fun fact, right? So, you never know who's gonna respond to you. My job is that I network with companies, right? I wanna get to know their recruiters so that I can bring them into the office and learn insight about their company. That's what I do. So when I was on a business trip to Edmonton, I was on a WestJet plane. And I was watching Friends, because it was on their TV. And when I was finished my trip, I at WestJet, I said, thanks for letting me catch up on some friends. You guys are the best. Within 20 minutes, half an hour, they tweeted back, that's awesome, glad you enjoyed your trip. Then I started creating a dialogue, right? And then eventually I asked them, by the way, could you provide me with an HR contact? I'd love to know a little bit more about your company. You don't want to just approach them like, by the way, can you give me a job? That's no way to approach it. Twitter is fun, right? That's the whole point. It's only 140 characters. You just have fun with it. So you want to engage them. If they post an article, respond back. Great article. Love this point. You want to create dialogue, right? And that's not just with Twitter. That's with life, right? That's when you're networking in general. You don't want to just be like, give me a job, right? You want to create some trust with the person you're talking to so that they want to help you, right? So with Twitter, it's very casual, very fun. Another famous example that didn't happen to me, thank goodness, when Oprah was here in Vancouver, someone tweeted at her, wow, Oprah looks old. So,
don't make Oprah mad.
And how many followers does Oprah have? Like thousands, millions. She tweets back at this somewhat poor guy, really? That was her response to him, and the backlash on this guy, just like overwhelmed with tweets supporting Oprah. And Kobe Bryant has tweeted back at random people. So if celebrities can tweet back at you, a company can tweet back at you. Especially these days, keep in mind, they are hiring communication specialists. They are hiring marketing managers. If they do not respond to tweets being tweeted at them, it looks bad on them, right? Same with Facebook. If you've ever, I work for Bell, so I dealt with angry customers all the time. But now there's Facebook. So people, if they're upset at any kind of, let's say, Bell mobility, they can comment like, customer service was so poor, blah, blah, blah. They can comment on something that they posted on their page. And as a consumer, if you visit that page and you see that negative comment and you don't see any Bell rep responding back, being like, I'm so sorry, reach out to us, like we can try to solve this, you already feel negative about that product. You didn't even have that experience, you already feel negative because you've seen no response from the rep of Bell, right? So if you have questions about the company, feel free to post it. Because again, they are hiring marketing managers, they're hiring communication specialists to deal with that. Because if they don't respond to you, they will look back. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Just to comment on that as well too, not every company is far enough down the social network path. They're getting there. So don't feel discouraged if they don't. It might be just where the organization is, and we deal with companies that are just trying to figure out how they're doing social themselves.
Yeah.
But the responses back to negative customer feedback is probably one of the biggest focus areas as well.
Mm-hmm. So they are trying. So it might take them a day, it might take them a week. They're working on it. So reach out to those who work for the company for an informational interview. Who's done this? Okay, how did you guys do it? What was your approach? And how did it go? We're sharing stories.
Stop it on quickly.
Okay.
I called the Vancouver Center, spoke to the HR division, and the HR division transferred. I called Toronto, the main headquarters, and from there spoke to the national hiring manager, and then got all the info about hiring.
Okay.
I wanted to know this a little bit more, and get into the conversation. And I knew that, for example, I had to develop some aspect of it to order to apply for the job and maybe next year, and I managed to create that connection.
Okay. So with that connection, and I'm kind of jumping forward to my slides, but with those connections, did you lose connection? Have you followed up with them? Have you added them on LinkedIn? Have you sent them a happy holidays, happy New Year?
I tried adding them, but didn't accept. I didn't see it. I didn't catch up after that.
Okay.
It was only stopped at that point.
Okay, so again, I'm jumping forward, but I think it's really important that, when you make a connection, to keep that connection, right? That's something, we always constantly think, new connections. Okay, what about leveraging our existing contacts, right? And that's something that people need to keep more so in mind. So when you connected with those people, yes, you got their number, did you get their email? Did you connect with them on LinkedIn? If you just got their email, I have a list of people who I just keep as warm contacts. So if it's a holiday, I'm sending them happy holidays, hope you're doing well, and I will keep, LinkedIn is great because they've recently updated, and you can keep personal notes about each contact now. When you met them, how you met them, and when you should, reminders to yourself when you should recontact, So this woman I connected with years ago, you know, kept it warm, and I knew she was pregnant, she was going to be at birth in May. So I, you know, reached out to her, like, hope it went well, best wishes to your family, happy holidays. So keeping the warm contact. Because like you said, maybe next year you'll apply, right? But next year, who are you? So you're starting from scratch again, right? But if you kept that warm contact, you linked with them on LinkedIn, you can follow up with them. Once you apply, be like, hi, you know, we chatted last year, I followed up with you a couple of times, just wanted to let you know that I finally applied to this position. It'd be great if you give me, or I'm looking to apply for this position, could you give me some insight for my application?
That was my first information.
Yeah, oh!
But
All good.
informational interviews are really a great thing to do. I mean, it's a hard thing to do, but almost nobody is going to turn you down. Like, most people are not going to say no. Almost everyone, if you ask them, will make the time for you. I'll just tell you this. It's a long story, but I'll shorten it. And it sort of, bordered on it was my desperation. I wanted to work in publishing. I was working in Toronto, and I didn't want to work there anymore. I wanted to be back in Vancouver. There wasn't that much publishing opportunity in Vancouver except for one place called Raincoast Books. And I thought, I have to get a job there. And I started this process of phoning the CEO. Much to his surprise, I just called him one day and I said, this is who I am. I really like, to work in Vancouver one day, blah, blah, blah. And it took me a year and a half. I phoned him every month. And every month. And finally, towards the end, he'd be like, hi, Tessa. How are you? And then he was like, this was like, there was no LinkedIn at that point. And finally he came to Toronto and he said, all right, I'll meet you. I think he just, I think he was really curious who this lunatic was. He kept phoning him every month and saying,
but you kept it warm, like that's like
kept it warm and I kept it short. I was like, hi, Alan, it's me. I just want you to have a job for me. And can I meet you? Can I talk to you about my skills? And anyways, he finally agreed to meet me. And then, so we met. And I just said, can I meet you? And he's like, okay, I'll meet you. So he finally met me. And then I took vacation because I was like, I need to get a job back in Vancouver. I was so homesick, I wanted to come back. So I made appointments. I took vacation. I made appointments with like 20 people. I cold called them all. And then I had an appointment with Alan. I'm like, I'm coming to Vancouver. He told me that you want me to come on. She's getting closer. And I walked into his office and I'm like, oh, I'm here, do you have a job? And finally he's like, oh my God. He's like, okay, when can you start? And you know what? It wasn't the job I wanted. I wanted to work in something specific, and he put me somewhere else, but it was a job. And, I slowly sort of climbed my way up. And I think he finally did it because he was tired of me phoning him all the time. He said, where are you? I'm in France. Okay. But I got the job. And the point is, I think that Canada's saying is that you don't have to be a menace like I was, but I think you can. But I think the point is that you develop that relationship and you don't let it go because people do. Life is busy and people will forget you. And people often, if you ask to meet them, will not say no. That's my experience. I mean, we have it happen at the BBOT, and no one's going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. People love to meet with people and chat with them. So.
Especially if you're going to offer them free coffee, like, come on, it's a free coffee chat. And usually, I think the best approach is that you want to ask them about their life story, okay? Don't approach it as, give me a job, let me learn about you. I want to be you one day. How do I get there? I need advice, right? Make them feel valued that way. Don't make them just feel like pressured in giving you a job. Right? That's one of the best advice that I can give you guys. And again, kind of jumping forward to a few other slides, but one of the best advice that has ever been given to me about networking, whether it be social networking or networking in person, is that don't enter a room thinking, what can these people do for me? Enter the room thinking, what can I do for these people? Okay? Make yourself valuable to them. Okay? In that, like, everyone likes to have a mentor, multiple. Everyone likes to have a mentor, everyone wants a mentee eventually, and so build that relationship with some of the contacts you build, you get from informational interviews, right? Ask them for advice. Ask them, okay, I'm in this situation right now. What were you doing? What were you doing at my age? Or what were you doing in this situation before? How did you get here? What was your path like? You know, considering my situation, what would you do? Right? Make them valued in that state. And in the end, they might not give you a job, but they can introduce you to other people because they know who you are now. They know your background. They might not have a job, but they have friends who work for other companies, right? So you never know who they know.
Yeah, it has to do with social networking. So you talked about LinkedIn, you talked about connections and stuff like that. How do you deal with the scalability issue of the number of connections you have? So in my case, like I have more than 500 LinkedIn connections, right? Some of them are business people, others are companies that we have business with. 500 is a lot, right? And the reality is that's even just the tip of the iceberg of the companies that we deal with. So how do you manage LinkedIn and the other social network connections so that when you're talking about warm versus cold, like what characteristics do you use to distinguish one versus the other?
So when I was doing a workshop similar to this, to students as well, one girl asked me, what if you just don't get along with someone? Like, what if you just didn't click? And I was like, that's okay. It's like friends. You don't have. Think about your Facebook friends. Right? I have over 100 Facebook friends. Who has over 100 Facebook friends? Okay. Now, if I ask you, how often do you see all these hundreds of friends? Would you say often? Or would you say almost never? Almost never, probably. I probably see like 5 to 10 at most on a regular basis, and who I actually consider my friends. So when it comes to LinkedIn having warm or cold contacts, I do have close to 500 connections, and I'm usually more mindful of my connections on LinkedIn, and that's a personal preference, right? Some people are wanting to link with everyone. Some people, are really limited in their connections. It's really up to you what you want to do, but it's okay to have an informational interview and you meet them and it's just not a click and you just don't click with them. You're still a connection. I would keep that as warm. You kind of message them happy holidays. You kind of just like some of their postings sometimes on LinkedIn to kind of remind them that you're in their network. But I wouldn't necessarily always ask for meetings and ask them questions. They will make themselves available to you. The mentors that I have clearly made it available to me. Like, if you ever have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to meet up with me. Give me a call. You will know when those relationships happen. Right? You'll feel comfortable, they will feel comfortable. So that's the difference between hot, warm, and cold. And there's some that you just meet once, you get their business card, and you don't even remember what they look like until you add them onto your LinkedIn. Then you're like, oh, it's that guy, or that girl, right? They're really cold. So that's to keep in mind the gauge of LinkedIn or Facebook or whatnot. Any questions? So I bolded this, so social networking. So who here does social networking on a regular basis? Do you think you're good at it? Pretty comfortable? So teach me some things. Teach me some techniques that you guys do when it comes to social networking.
The inside button in LinkedIn.
Sorry?
The inside button in LinkedIn.
Okay.
Just click there, find out who.
Okay. What is the inside button?
It shows you who are the people that work, or the main people that work in the company. So when I have inside about who's the HR, who's the CEO, whatever, just click on inside.
Okay.
Some companies do have it actually.
So your approach is that you're company targeted, right? Than people targeted. You more so target companies and you want to network with those in the company, right? Rather than just people in general.
I'm just talking in regards to jobs and job hunting.
Okay.
In that perspective.
Okay. What are your other techniques? Does anyone have the upgraded version of LinkedIn? Okay, good. Because as a job resource consultant, I get asked that all the time. Should I upgrade? Is it worth it? If you have the financial funds for it, it's really fun. It keeps you on LinkedIn longer because you get to find out why they searched for you, why they clicked on you, kind of.
How do you know? Like, how do you know what someone's looking at your
That's a part of the upgrade. So when you upgrade your account, you'll see how you're in a search, like how many times you've been in a search. They will tell you how you fall into that search. What keywords did people look up so that you can fall into that search. I myself have always said, as a job seeker, or even as just a regular professional, you do not need the upgraded account. You will if you're a recruiter, I think, is great. You will, I think, if you're a business development person, I think it's pretty handy. But otherwise, don't really think it's worth its while for maybe $25 a month. There are some loopholes. So when it comes to social networking, there are a few loopholes that I will share with you via LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, when you connect with someone, it's based on who you know, right, and who they know. So if you're a second degree, you can easily connect with them for the most part, right? When they're a third degree, it gets a little harder. Less information shared on their profile, you can't really see their full name even. So there's a few. If they're a second degree and you don't actually never work with them, you've never gone to school with them, you really don't actually know them, but they get you to answer a certain, like, how do you know this person? Because if you put you don't know this person, they won't let you add them to your network. So there's a few things you can do. You can click on friend, and it'll pretty automatically let you connect with them. Yeah, you can do that. Or what you can do is, if you go on their profile, most likely they will have their email address on there, right? You copy their email address, click on other, it will ask you to enter their email address, put in their email address, and you can connect with them. Do you guys customize your message? Good, because always customize the message. It's the worst, unless you actually already know this person, that's fine. But if you don't actually know this person, always customize the message. Why are you linking with them? Tell them, you know what, I'd love to link in with you. I have some questions about the company you work for. Look forward to hearing from you. Something short, sweet. So it allows them to it gives them a reason to say yes to your invitation. Okay? So those are some loopholes. Their third degree is another loophole. If you know that you guys have the same group, if you guys have joined in the same group, you can look at that group, look into members, and search their name. And you can connect with them that way. You're considered a second degree if you go through the group.
Can you say that again? One more time.
Yes. So if they're a third degree connection, usually their profile is very limited.
Yeah.
But what you can see is the group that you guys are both connected in. So what you would do is go into that group page, click on member, and they will have a search bar. That search bar in the group, you can type in their name and they will pop up and you can connect with them as a second degree. That's another loophole. Or you can also look at their Google, their name and the company and email, and most likely you can at least figure out the pattern of the email, right? And then figure out that sort of email. Most of them are like first name, period, last name at whatever company. Or first letter of the name, last name, right? So there's some ways you can do that. Any questions on social media? I would really strongly encourage it, especially if you're introverts. The invention of the internet and social networking has been great for those who don't like to put themselves out there. Believe it or not, I am an introvert. Actually, I scale in the middle. I have my introvert moments and extrovert moments. But I've really relied on it. And like I said, I actually really hated networking. I still hate networking. If you put me in a room at an event, be like, Pam, go and get collect business cards. I'd be like at the food station eating, where I feel most comfortable. But for me, if it's a smaller group, a little bit more intimate, then it's great. I feel much more comfortable. I can make conversation. I get to really know the person. That's something you have to keep in mind too. One of the girls that I was in a workshop that I was facilitating, she was like, I've been taught that I should get as many business cards as I possibly can. Actually, no. My advice to you guys is if you leave an event with 2 business cards, but having 2 very memorable conversations with 2 people, that's more than any amount of business cards you can get without having anyone remember your name, right? Keep that in mind. If you're just going in, passing around business cards, it's nothing. What have you done for them? What have they done for you? Nothing. But if you actually keep conversation going, they're going to remember it. They're going to leave the event thinking like, I had a great conversation with so-and-so. I had a great conversation, and they do this and they do that. And then when you link in with them, they remember you even more, right? Now there's your picture on the profile. Again, everything that you've talked to them about. So, like I said, try to make more meaningful connections. I kind of just coined the term connections for myself, because to me it's about making connections than just networking. So I don't know if that's going to help you guys when it comes to networking, but it really has helped me. So like I said, I still hate it. Still don't think I'm good. But it's my job. Anyone have questions or anything about networking or social networking? Something I also want to point out to you guys is who networks on Facebook? No one? So that's something I really want to kind of emphasize is don't forget to leverage your existing network. I have connections on Facebook from my old colleagues, sometimes my old managers, and they grow up too, you know? Like, I worked in retail, I worked in sales at Bell Mobility when I was younger, and my colleagues grew up too. We were all in the same community, we were all going to school. Now they work for other companies. And if you want to take a closer look, I will also get people posting on their status, hey, my company is looking for this type of person, message me if you're interested. Why do they do that? Companies have referral programs. So they can refer someone, and if you're decent, they get the money in their pocket. So why not throw it out there to their network? So don't forget, it's not always about making new contacts, making new connections. Think about your existing network. Who's working for where? And Facebook, if you notice, there's a spot where you can tell them where you're working. Right? This person's currently working for this. This person does this at this job. This person used to work for this place. There is space for that, right? It's funny because I constantly have to battle with people to tell them Facebook is not that much different from LinkedIn. It's really not. So if you use it in a professional manner, it can actually give you just as many benefits as LinkedIn does, right? It's just the lingo. Facebook asks you how you feel today. LinkedIn asks you update a status. It doesn't even ask you, it just tells you, right? But you can put the same thing in both places. So what's the difference? You probably have overlapping contacts too. Some people are on your Facebook and on your LinkedIn, right? So you can actually use it in a very professional manner and use it as another platform to brand yourself, right? Why not post a status about what you're interested in? Do you guys post articles in the area that of your interest? And then all of a sudden it allows your network to know, oh, this person is interested in this. Oh, this person is doing this in school. Oh, this person wants to do this in life. All of a sudden you have a whole bunch of people knowing what you're actually doing professionally or wanting to do professionally. So again, keep in mind your existing network. Those are probably some easier contacts too, warmer contacts that you don't have to really work hard for and probably can chit chat with and talk about you to someone else much easier than a brand new contact. Some other things to keep in mind is, joining different associations, clubs, organizations, nonprofits, to help you get used to putting yourself out there and networking. Again, a lot of these other volunteers work for really great companies as well. So, if you're not really knowing where to start, these are some great options for you, and they're free. You don't have to necessarily pay to be associations, but most of these are free. And it builds on your resume too. That's another thing to keep in mind. And a lot of the time, nonprofits will require volunteers that do tasks that are very transferable to real life, the job that you want. That's where a lot of my resume content came from, is my volunteer work from these different organizations and nonprofits. So I worked in the office, I worked meeting people, all that stuff. And when it comes to tackling the hidden job market, it is social networking. About 20% of jobs are action posted, 80% are all hidden. So it's who you know, how you impress them, and if they can refer you. So that keep that in mind. Social networking and networking in general is very, very important. Because if you, like say for an organization, you're volunteering for them, if they are considering posting a job and you're already volunteering for them, and this is your expertise, and you already have the skills, and you already have the knowledge about their company, why not just give it to you before they even post it? Why waste the time? Why waste the energy of the HR people posting it and filtering out resumes? They have the perfect candidate right here. Right? So again, only 20% of jobs are actually posted, 80% are all hidden and gained through networking. A little daunting, it's called the iceberg. So like I said, following up. So after an informational interview, meeting, event, remember to email the person, thanking them for their time or expressing gratitude for meeting them at the event. It's really great to follow up. Whenever I meet anyone at any event, I have their business card, usually throw them out afterwards, really bad. Just connect with them on LinkedIn, subject line, great meeting you tonight or the other night at this event. Love to link in with you and hopefully we'll see each other again soon. You could just make it very innocent. Once they connect with you, give it a few days or a few weeks, be like, thanks for the connection, and if you want to meet with them, be like, it'd be great, maybe I can chat and pick your brain a little more, you seem really interesting and work for a really interesting company, last time I met you or saw you, could we meet up? Very casual, make it harmless, don't be like, I need a job, about to graduate, I'm freaking out, help me. They're not going to happen.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. So, yeah, make it a little bit harmless.
Like I did.
Like I said, send them a simple happy holidays, happy new year. Like I said, take advantage of the new input or new layout of the LinkedIn contacts. Every time you link in with a person, they actually show you when you linked in with them. You can add a note how you met them. You can add reminders if they mention, oh, I'm doing a speaking event this night. You can even set a reminder. Oh, I'm just messaging you because I remember you mentioning you're doing a speaking event. How did it go? Already it's like, wow, they remembered me. Oh, wow, I feel so important. So like, leave an impression for them. And again, like I said, continue to network and follow these companies on various social media outlets. It is very helpful, like I said, company culture, that's all it is these days. It's all about company culture, it's all about company fit. Companies are really concerned because they need to keep their employees happy. Because the happier the employees, the more productive they're going to be, the better service they're going to provide for their consumers or customers, right? And the employees are not going to be happy if they're working with people they don't like, right? It's a dynamic that has really changed applying work and interview processes, really showing them that they're a good fit. Keep that in mind. And last but not least, keep an open mind. Like I said, I went to UBC thinking I was going to be a lawyer. I had no idea this industry even existed. Had no idea the path that I was going to go down. And now I really love my job. I love doing this. I love facilitating. I love helping people figure out what they want to do next with their life. Strategizing on social media, figuring out hiring trends, networking, social networking with recruiters and learning about insight and sharing that insight. And again, I did not go to UBC thinking, this is what I want to do. So I really kept an open mind and I really enjoyed the path that I went on. But like I kind of demonstrated, my path did not look like this. It looked like this. And if you notice, the arrow was still growing, or pointing up. My mentors, their number one question to me is, when we had one of our first meetings, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I haven't grown up. I'm doing what I'm doing. And then they're like, you know what? It's a question that's haunted us for our whole lives and generations, right? But they also tell me, like, I don't know what I'm doing when I grow up. I feel like I'm still growing. I could possibly change, what I'm doing and, wake up and be like, I'm going to try something new, right? It's okay. It's kind of a good thing that we don't know, right? So I would just say keep motivated, keep networking, and kind of figure out, the essence of what you want to do and kind of let that guide you. That's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. if you guys want to chat with me or pick my brain and open to kind of chat more and allow you guys to pick my brain about any kind of topic of career management. But thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Pam. I just want to say one thing. There's a couple things that Pam talked about that I think are key. We had 2 positions open at work recently. So we had so we've been interviewing tons and tons and tons and tons of people, and it was really difficult. And I think one of the things that's really, really important, if and when you get, and you will get that job interview, sometimes it's the little things, right? And the research, I don't think you can do enough research. And I think we were really surprised by the number of people who just didn't have any idea why they were there. They couldn't answer why they were applying for the job or even who we were in any kind of way. And so, I mean, right away, I think it doesn't really show you that there's any kind of real level of interest. And I think the other thing that's really important too is remembering that it is about you. It is about trying to find the right fit. So that looking and finding the right company culture is really important. I have another sordid job story for you, and you know, I worked for and I got a job that on paper looked like it was the right thing. I did zero research on the culture of the company, but it was, you know, it looked like it was going to be 150% the right fit, and it was a nightmare. It was the worst experience of my life. I didn't like the culture. I couldn't stand anything about it. And I remember just thinking in the first month in, like, what am I doing here? I was like breaking out rashes, and finally it was like my husband's like, you need to leave. So I think I had rashes and facial tics at that point because it was so not the right fit for me. So I think it is important to make sure that, you know, even in a tough job market, I think what will make you stand out is doing that research and understanding and being able to bring that kind of passion to, you know, why you really want to. I mean, that's how I ended up, you know, working at Rainbow. It's not only because I stalked Alan, but I love books, right? And I think you probably saw that more than, you know, the phone calls, but just that real passion and love. And so I think that's really a key thing. So no more about my sordid stories anymore. Pam will be here for a few minutes if you want to talk to her a little bit more. Thank you, Alex, for filming us tonight.
That's going on the internet.
I know, why not?
Stalking, facial tics.
Somebody was.
I'm going to send it to your boss.